Morning, Rich.
Good morning, sir. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Oh, like closed captioning.
No kidding.
Okay, and then you'll be able to help me with to get the video up?
Yeah, we'll have my video.
Okay, all right,
You'll
okay.
be a much better assistant.
Oh, how do you use this one?
One should just go ahead and like move it just like forward.
Which one's forward?
You have to do that. No, I thought.
How do you use this?
Steal the end of this guy.
Oh, okay.
Take that. Now you're in business. Once we're now go click right.
This one?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
There
okay.
you go.
Got it.
I'll
There.
push it back to her for now, and then you're out.
Okay.
I'll pop up, swap windows, and then you'll be good to go.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Good morning, everybody. Morning, Dave. Thank you.
All right. Happy New Year, everyone. 2 weeks off. Let's hope we remember how to say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it true? Is it fair, well concerned? Will it build friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? All right, good to have you with us today. We have Rich online here, I see. Welcome with their beautiful background. Do you know what it's doing here? Not that. It's raining. At least it's not snow, but it's like pouring. Wonderful. Glad to have you here today. If you were a group of wrens, you would be a chime. So, you know, if you see a group of wrens, it's a chime. Today is January 6th, the year 2026. It is Epiphany, and there are 359 days remaining this year. If you didn't know, the Packers are playing the Bears on Saturday night. And
How did they do on Sunday? They beat the Packers.
more exciting for me anyway, because of the level of football I like to watch. UW River Falls won the NCAA Division III football championship at the Skag Bowl. I would like to play the Skag Bowl, but anyway, yeah, that's really cool. Their quarterback is pretty good. Well, I watched replays. He's pretty good. So anyway, things you probably don't know, don't need to know, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Typewriter, the word typewriter, can be spelled out using only the top row of a standard keyboard. So you don't need to move your fingers. So, we're going to go home.
Listen, our heads are going.
We have no birthdays to celebrate this week. Anniversaries, pub anniversaries, Deb's, hey, she's always there, is 6 years. And Teresa, I know you're here. There she is, 1 year. From now on, you're plural. We have a couple of guests with us today. Marisol, did I say that correctly? All right, who is from St. Vincent de Paul, and that's great. And checking us out. So be on your best behavior. They never are, but I say that.
Yeah.
And Karen Klemp, who's going to be talking to us today. That's great. A poem for the new year. We would want to have a new year and that. A new year upon us brings a fresh calendar to the wall. Clean numbered spaces, not too big, not too small. This go round, I promise to take extra caution, to avoid mistakes that make a visual mess every so often. No more erasures, scratch outs, or smudges. 2026 will see nothing of mistake sludges. As a good club member, I add Rotary to each week. In block letters, no less. Oh, not me. Then I go through adding family and friend birthdays. For good measure, I write 53 on the date of my anniversary. Of course, I must precisely note the plans for vacations. A prim and proper calendar has a big 250 on July 4th for the nation. How proud I am of the simple, spotless writing. Only a couple more additions I need to be cited. I now finally include holy days that don't fall on Sunday. So I'll begin with Lent, which starts on Ash. Oh crap. I'm such a sap. What can I say? I printed bold Rotary on every Wednesday. Happy New Year, folks.
Oh. Thanks, Dave. Okay, so up next is the Klemp family day today, apparently. So that's lovely. Rick, you're up for a minute.
Okay.
Who do we have online?
I think just Rich. Just Rich.
Aren't I enough?
You know most of my stuff.
Yes, you're another.
I'm going to talk. I had 3 kids, so I did a lot of coaching when I was younger and that with kids, and I did soccer and football. And soccer, we never lost a game, and I knew nothing about soccer. But we had some good kids, and we were in the Madison soccer league, and so you got to choose your team. And I took a lot of the girls because nobody would take them. But I had a couple of really good boys too. But actually, the girls were really good because they're a little more aggressive at that age than some of the boys. But my last soccer game, we were undefeated, and the Y, Sun Prairie, they had a soccer team. The boys were older than us. It's all boys. They were a year older. But we played them, and then the referees were high school kids that were refereeing, and they came over and they told me, they said, they don't play by the rules, so there's going to be a lot of pushing and shoving. That's how they play the game and that. So he says, just warn your kids and watch out. So I got my kids together and I told the girls, I said, don't dribble the ball. As soon as you get it, take it away from them and kick it. So, because if you start going downfield and dribbling, they're going to hit you. So that worked out pretty good. And when they came downfield, my goalie was a pretty good sized kid. And he says, well, God, this is on football. So when they came downfield, he went right after him. And he'd knock them down. But we ended up winning the game, but it was really an interesting match. And the parents of the other team they were furious because their team was older and they were undefeated, and they thought it was going to be a big win for them. But my kids come together and they learned a valuable lesson that if you play as a team, it doesn't matter what the odds are, you're going to get ahead. The next story is when I was coaching football, Sun Prairie always has 2 or 3 teams in the leagues, and so you don't get all the the best players on that team. And we were playing Portage, and it was fourth quarter, and we were tied, and we did a play, and my kid got loose, and he was running down the field, and he stepped out of bounds right by me, and then kept on going. The referees and oh, so I called the referees over. I said, "Well, my kid stepped out of bounds right here." Coach, you call that? Oh, yeah, he stepped out of bounds. That's the rules of the game. And so they did, and we ended up losing the game. That would have been the winning touchdown for our 6-1. And the kids at the end go, "Coach, why did you do that? You couldn't win the game." I said, "Look, it doesn't necessarily always, if you win the game, it's that you played right." And I said, the right thing to do was you stepped out of bounds and you should call it. You can see it. And they didn't know about that, but years later, I had kids on that team come up to me and they said, "Coach, we learned a lot from that because we do that in our life. If something's wrong, we correct it or we admit that it was wrong." And some of them own businesses and that. And I know one guy did roofing, and he said, "Well, I made a mistake one time, but I stayed to what I told him what the price would be because that would be the right thing to do." And another, I got one more story. It was also my last football game that I was coaching. These, 8th grade kids and that. And for some reason, the two Sun Prairie teams are in the same league. Usually they split us up. And it was the last game of the year, and we were both tied. We were both undefeated. But we always scrimmaged the other team in practice for a half hour every Thursday, and we always lost. And then our kids would go to school the next day, and then they'd get teased and get a bad thing. But so Thursday, our last practice, I talked to the kids. I said, "Well, who's all coming for Saturday for the game?" And most of them said, "Coach, we're not coming because we never beat these guys in anything, and we don't want to be embarrassed again." I said, "Well, you just come to the game. You don't need to be embarrassed." I said, "If you notice, whenever we practice them, we have a couple of plays that they can never stop, but I only run them once or twice, and then we do a lot of other things." So I talked to him and he came, and that game we ran one play the whole game. In fact, I just said, "Run the same play." I just sat on the sidelines and just run the same play. And they couldn't stop us. We'd maybe only get 3 or 4 or 5 yards of play, but we marched down the field and that. And then when they would overshift and just that, we handed it off to our end team instead of the halfback going up the field. And he was wide open. He ran 30 yards down the field and he tripped on the 10-yard line, which I really felt sorry for. We ended up scoring anyway, but this kid had never run the ball, never scored. I was hoping he was going to score. And he was so embarrassed. I said, "Don't be embarrassed. It happens to everybody." But at the end of the game, now I told our kids, I said, "Now, when you go back to school on Monday, don't give the other team a hard time." I said, "You know how you felt when you lost and we were giving you a hard time." And they go, "Oh, okay." So that was it. So coaching, you can really give a lot of information and help kids grow up to be who they should be. So that was it. Okay, the speaker.
I'll do a couple things and
Okay.
then we'll call you back again. Because Thank you. Okay, so a couple of announcements that I have. Just a reminder to everybody that the holiday party is next Monday, so Monday the 12th. I want to thank Phil for taking over on the 9th when I was out for jury duty. One guilty count, one not guilty, in case I didn't tell you. And to thank him for next week as well, since I am going to be at morning next week on Tuesday. And maybe a couple more days after that. January 20th, the meeting is going to be with All Things Foundation. So Ann Obley's going to be talking about the foundation and giving us information about how it works, where we're at, the state of the state as far as the foundation is concerned. And then speakers. So we Rich put together on the back table the speakers, the upcoming assignments, what we have, who's upcoming, who's on deck to present the speakers that are going forward. And then we had a request for who has been a speaker in the past, which I thought was a good information to have. So Rich put that together as well, and I'll get that printed out and I'll have that available. I'll send it out online as well. So you can take a look and see who have been speakers in the past, who maybe should be coming back around again if it's been a while, the kinds of things that have happened. But I think the information that I passed along to the inquiry was that in the 5 or so years that I've been in Rotary, it's been an incredibly wide range of speakers. I couldn't pinpoint and say, well, it's sort of this flavor or this sort of culture. And I think that's part of what makes Rotary so interesting, is that it is this wide range to come and present for us. So that is the information that I have for you all, but I'm sure you all have some things as well. So Rotary moment, anybody have any Rotary moment?
As you mentioned, the holiday party is coming up. I have 20 people RSVP'd, so if you're still interested, let me know. I'm sending numbers right after the meeting, so it's not too late to get on. 5:30 p.m. and sells $30 per person. There's a food and a room rental cash bar, and I'm having a great time. I'll meet at the door.
Sure. All right. Other Rotary moments.
Just a little Patrick Mark is that this is kind of our we have planning commission meeting coming up next week on Tuesday at 7 p.m. with and I will be there and probably John. And so we have to sell our project to the planning commission. Also, we've got a meeting today with staff to work out some of the details. So hopefully when we go there, we've got everything out. And then next week I have the speaker and we're talking the behind the scenes stories of the plaque. So we're going to be talking about all of the storylines that are going to be on the wall and what it took for us to get to that point. And actually, my sister Joyce, who is the editor, is volunteered to come too and to talk a little bit about how tough it is for wording and what it takes to get wording on a plaque. So that's our storyline for next week.
Any other Rotary moments?
I do.
Where did I do somewhere? No?
I'm on
You guys
the
did not. Okay. I'm hearing voices. That's cool. Moment for 2026. Okay.
I have one.
Oh, I did hear something. Okay, Rich, what do you got?
Okay. Every Rotarian every year is important since that's going to be one of the criteria for us getting being able to get money from the district. And right now we're at $67.58 per person. So we got to be at $100. So we got time to do it, but just wanted to keep it top of mind. Also, the service of us self is coming up. The timeline online has been updated for 2026. Again, to me, that's one of the most important things that we do is find people who believe the way that we do in as far as volunteering and helping other people. And the Hoops for Hope tracking spreadsheet is up and ready. So in March, we're ready for that one. So I just wanted to give you an update.
Thanks, Rich. All right. With that, we're back to the introduction to the speaker.
Our speaker today is somebody I know fairly well. And just a little bit of background. She's been to, I think, 9 countries. She's done at least 60 mission trips. overseas and that. We do, one of the things we do in Tanzania and other countries, we taught helping babies breathe and helping mothers survive. And we've taught maybe a couple hundred nurses, doctors, and midwives. The thing, the trouble with being married to Karen, where whenever you go on a trip or something, she's always using her nursing stuff. I mean, we were on a trip to see our son in Germany, and the guy on the train we were on had a heart attack, so Karen was running over with that. We had a baby in Ethiopia at the airport that was choking, so Karen took care of that. We were up in the mountains on horseback rides, steak feed, and the guy started choking, so she took care of that. We were in Minnesota, and the girl caught her fingers in the door, and the door wouldn't open, so she had to get the house cleaning people to unlock the door. So we took care of that. So all these things happen. So you never know when you're traveling with her what might happen or where she's going to have to go to help somebody. So right now, we take care.
So if anybody's on this week, well, stay in your seat. We don't want anything to happen.
And after this, I have a short video.
Okay.
With that.
You did a really good job of saving the sentence, the trouble with being married to you. I was worried that he wasn't going to come around. Give it a right
Yep.
just to make sure.
What?
Okay, good.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me again. I know you've heard me speak in the past, but this is a really fun update about, everything about our history and where we've come to. We've been going to, do I need a microphone? Do I need this? Okay.
We're old.
Okay, turn your hearing aids on. Okay, so we're really excited about what's been happening. That is a real picture. It's not AI. None of our pictures are AI. So I just am prefacing that because we did get to go to a wildlife sanctuary in October. It was amazing. Nixon Mizigaba, which you guys have heard about, our chairman now in Tanzania for Hope to Others there, took us, he wanted to bless us, and so he took us to this wildlife sanctuary that's now been open. It'll be 2 years this spring, and it was amazing. It's a walking safari, a day safari, and you go to visit the different animals, and you get to pet them and hug them and feed them and do whatever you want. And there's guides. Each group has a guide, and they've been well trained, and it was amazing. And our backdrop was Mount Kilimanjaro, so it was really a gorgeous, great opportunity. So that is a real lion, and I think she was sleeping. She was sleeping, but got to eat before she met us, so that was really important. Her male partner was in a cage. We couldn't even go see him because he was in the process of being retrained, whatever that means. So for visitors. So these are some of the places we've been to, as you know, several times, and we've had the great opportunity for the last almost 2 years. Lee Mills is following what we're doing and reporting on it about every 6 months or 8 months or so. So that's been really, we met at Bratfest. We worked together, and so that was really neat. She's very passionate about mothers and babies and good birthing processes, and that's one of my bosses. Just to give you an idea, this is the rendering of the birthing center that we've had, and we've had this rendering since we came up with the vision for doing this in 2007, when I had to do CPR on a baby and realized that they don't have the knowledge and the skills. And so two things came into my mind were education and, they need good, healthy birthing centers. So we came up with this. Architect helped us from Madison, who was a U.S. He did the design for the U.S. Embassy that was bombed in, I believe, 98 for Tanzania and Kenya, and has a real heart for it. And I work with his daughter, so that's how we got connected. And he started that. And then you have to have an architect and contractor in the country. So we got a contractor, and that was about 4 years ago, and he designed all this. So it comes out to almost $1 million, a lot of. So this is, that's not the kind of pockets we have, or we don't know too many people that have those kind of pockets either. So I was like, a year ago in October, this last year, so that would be 14 months ago, I had a real serious conversation with God. I said, hey, you put this on my heart back in 2007. We have it drawn up. We have a piece of land in Machwambu. I need to know, is this a pipe dream? If it is, just cut it off, and I don't want anything more to do with it. But if it isn't, you have to do something about it like now, because I am 70 years old. Now I'm going to be 72. So I was like, okay. So we had a fundraiser that we had scheduled. We raised $27,000. We had never raised that much money at a fundraiser. It was a fish fry in Madison. And it was like, oh my goodness. But I figured out, that's 11% of what we need. And at that meeting that I had with God, he placed in my mind that you're going to have $200,000, which is what we needed to start this building process. By spring, that was like in 6 months. So I was like feeling a little skittish. So we went to our pastor and we talked to him, and I said, hey, I just want to know that I'm on the right track. I need to know. And I always tell Rick, when I get these God messages, just for confirmation, he doesn't laugh at me. He smiles, and says, okay. So we went, and he's like, Karen, he's like, this money could come from anywhere. It could come from somebody down south. He goes, who knows? I'm like, okay. So he prayed for us, and we left. That week, we got a call. And a lot of times when I get calls from other places, that I don't recognize, this was a call from Louisiana. It's like, oh, I think I'll take it. I took it. And he's like, I'm Pastor Devin. We're with Mission Church, and I've heard about you and what you're doing through Nixon, Mizigaba, because Nixon has done safaris with him for the last couple of years, and he's helped their church, and they go on mission trips, and they go to the same places we do. And he had taken them to our land that was all fenced in. And he's like, we want to donate some money. We're like, oh, okay, sounds good. He's like, we'd like to donate $140,000. I'm like, wow. And then like a couple of days after that was the shooting at the church, at the school last year. And that's the church that we go to. So I couldn't even tell anybody about it because everybody was in such turmoil. That was not a priority, definitely. And so then I didn't hear they were going to have a meeting, and we didn't hear anything. And thought, oh, wow. New Year's Eve morning last year, we got a message and said, we are sending you $140,000. Can you come fly down here first week in February? So we're like, of course, we'll fly down. So we flew down. They put us in a really nice place. And we didn't know the people. We didn't know who was picking us up. We had like $150 in our pocket, and a credit card. And didn't know anybody. They invited us to lunch or to breakfast. And the pastor said, I'm really sorry I gave you the wrong number. Well, it's okay. Anything is a blessing. $1 is a blessing. Anything is a blessing. He's like, well, it was $150,000. I'm like, oh, okay. That was like a kiss from heaven. And it's just been a miraculous ride. So we're almost there. We needed, what was it, $23,000 more. So we have another fundraiser last April. We got $23,000. $200,000 by spring. So we're getting there. And that's what we want to finish the birthing center first. That's the whole complex. I don't know, is this a light? Oh yeah, so right in there are staff houses. This is the kitchen area. And then these are some, we're not going to be having this. We did a little bit of changing. We added an OR that we needed. So, and made this a little bit longer. But we're really excited because once the whole thing is open, we can get operational. So this is the layout of it right here. All the birthing centers, rooms. This is OR suite. So you have to have, you know, the different rooms, the facilities that you need to have a complete OR. We are going to have a little bit of a NICU right in here, this room and this room. And we're going to have a kangaroo room, which is where mothers hold their babies. That's pretty common. We do kangaroo holding, and that's for babies to stay warm, and they do better. There's a lot of research on that. It's really an excellent model for there and for here. So this is our goal. We're now up, we've raised in the last year $287,000. And another miraculous thing that happened is that October, we had zero money for the roof. And we wanted the roof up so that when the heavy rains come, there is some rains that come in November, but really heavy rains, March, April into May. And we did, because the rains could, you know, raise havoc with your building. It's all brick. But so we were a little worried about that. And all of a sudden, October 1st, and we were invited to go back. And the Mission Church wanted us to go. We said, well, it's not really in our budget. They said, we want you to go. We're paying your way. We're like, okay, we'll go. We'll show up. We'll be there. So we were there, and it was an amazing trip. They're a great group of people, and they gave us $40,000 to put towards the roof. When they saw the building, and they've helped a lot of other groups do buildings, they said they've never seen one so big, so organized. Our contractor was there to walk them through it. And so they gave us $40,000. When I got on the plane to leave, our contractor from Madison, who's just been following us on Facebook, sent me a message and said, my wife and I want to give you $10,000. Okay, so there we are. We were needing $87,000. So we're almost there. We got from the quilt show and some other donations, we got $7,000. So we're still needing $30,000 at Thanksgiving. So, so we were really praying about this. The first week in December, our church calls and says, we want to give you $10,000 towards this roof. The week after that, we got another $10,000 for one of my former college roommates or classmates. And then the following week, we got another $10,000. We got the whole match by Christmas. And it was just a Christmas miracle. It was like, we were like, and the last person I had never met. They had heard of us through a friend of a friend who had been on the trip. And it was just miraculous. I was like, oh my goodness. I thought this only happened in the movies, you know? It was just truly amazing. But this is to kind of give you a rundown. So we only have $263,000 to go. And I say that not lightly, but with sincerity that, you know, it really increases your faith when you have those kinds of needs and really trust God in what you're doing. This is to give you an idea of how big the place is. So it's pretty good size. We have 12 birthing and ante rooms, which are like prenatal, postnatal rooms, operating suite, emergency room, 2 neonatal pediatric type rooms, pharmacy, laboratory, ultrasound. We added an eye room that enters through the back and a dental room that enters through the back. And we have some dental equipment, and Dr. Olson has given us, like a few years back, a really wonderful digital x-ray machine, dental, so that we added that to the room, and two lounge areas. And then chapel area that is for like education and training as well. So we're really excited. So this is this is like, we had somebody right after we purchased the land in Matuambu, we had raised $5,000 and that's what it cost. She from Colorado, she's always wanted to go. She's heard about us. We've spoken out there, and she sent us $12,000, which was exactly what we needed for putting this. You have to fence everything in Tanzania and most developing countries. Everything has to be fenced and gated. So that's the first thing that you do. So this was last spring. So we have bare land inside, and this is in June. And yeah, this was the team that we took in last summer to work. And this is the team from Louisiana, and the foundation, they have a family that has a business, a very profitable business. And the grandma to this business, it's the Anderson Ray Leto Foundation. That's where the actual funds came from. But they're a part of their church, and they're very involved with the church. The grandma is a retired NICU nurse and had twin grandsons, and one of them died of SIDS at 6 months. And that was like 4 years ago. So we had this similar background because we have twin grandsons that are 10, and they do a lot of work in Kenya and different developing countries, and have a real heart for neonatal maternal infant care. So I love how this unfolds. It was amazing. We also did a mobile clinic, and we used the van. I don't know if you remember the ambulance that Sun Prairie gave us in 2010. And so we use that for our mobile clinics, and it works great because we use big tents. So we look like a MASH unit, but for privacy, when patients need privacy, then you take them into that, and that works out really well. So this is the end of the birthing unit. That's the lounge area. And our architect from Madison, all the ends are rounded like that because to be culturally sensitive, the Maasai, we work with a lot of Maasai and training the Maasai midwives. And all their bomas, their homes are round with roofs. So there will be a red metal roof, so you can see from far. It's my favorite color, red. So, and building will be white with red. And so it's been really a beautiful journey. So I just wanted to show you this is one of the babies that we helped several years ago, but these are the kids, and this is what they have. So there's a lot of preemies and little babies, and they share beds, and they don't have much, as you notice, a lot of plastic, not much do they have. So we want to ship more containers because we have a 9,000 square foot warehouse. It costs $20,000 now. The first one we shipped out was $12,000. So costs have gone up for shipping, and we use those for storage and equipment. And so far we've shipped 4 containers and 1 ambulance to Tanzania, 2 to Haiti. And this is our warehouse in Madison on South Park Street. It's 9,000 square feet. And so in fact, just this last week, Mary gave us there's 14 total coming we got 9 that they delivered to our warehouse, carts, OR carts. Perfect timing because we're going to need a lot of those carts for for adults. We have a lot of adult beds and incubators and cribs and all kinds of stuff. So we're very excited. So we figure that we could ship 6 to 8 containers is what we need. And the stuff that we send prior, we give to other hospitals that are in need. So we share the wealth, so to say. And this is just a picture of our family that's grown up now. Those are our twin grandsons that we're very proud of right there. For those of you, this is Jesse and Lindsay, our oldest. Here's Katie, and here's Jason and his wife. They're now in Belgium. They work for NATO as They're both majors in the U.S. Army, so they're busy people. So that's our family, and that's us. So I'm just going to show just a short video, just kind of an overview of the process for the building. And then if anybody has any questions, they can ask.
No, it's so good. See. It's the only video on here.
Before Farrell Birthing Center, that one.
Yeah.
Welcome to Matuambu, Tanzania, East Africa, where dreams are becoming a reality. It all began with a vision and a dream to provide a safe and caring environment for mothers and their newborns. Right here in the heart of Matuambu, we broke ground, laying the foundation for a brighter future. With hands and hearts united, we began the first steps of building a strong foundation, both physically and spiritually. Fast forward to today, and look at this. The walls are rising up strong and as a symbol of hope and our commitment to the people of this community. What was just once an idea is now standing tall before our eyes. A team from the United States visited to witness this miracle in motion, guided through the site by our lead engineer, Zephaniah.
For the laboratory, and then from us, yeah.
I'm Karen Klemp, and we are founders of Hope to Others International here in Tanzania and in the U.S., along with my husband, Rick Klemp. We are so blessed to have our first walkthrough visit here at the Hope to Others Birthing Center and Medical Clinic in Tuambu. It has just been amazing. We are so grateful to all of the donors, prayers, and people that have brought us this far. This has been a dream miracle come true. We praise and give God all the glory. But it was first conceived as a dream and a vision in 2007. It is now July 8th, 2025. And we are just so honored to have an amazing contractor here in Tanzania, Zephaniah, and all the people that have been here and this amazing team of people. It's just been a huge blessing. And this is what? Children's Board. Okay.
The team took time to pray for the work that was going on and the lives that would be touched in this place. This birthing center will be more than just a building. It will be a sanctuary of safety, love, and life for countless mothers and their precious babies. Here's an aerial view of the progress being made today. The next step is the room. This is just going to happen around the corner. We were witnessing a true miracle unfold before our eyes.
Let us rejoice and give thanks to Jesus for this extraordinary blessing and to every individual who has prayed, supported, assisted, and donated to this life-saving mission. A heartfelt thank you to the Anderson Ray Leto Memorial Fund for your generous support. To support and make this a tax-deductible donation to this amazing mission, please visit bringinghope2others.com. Together, we are bringing hope to others one life at a time. So that's it. I don't know if anybody has any questions about what we're doing. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned the location. What's the metropolitan area around there? How many people are?
It's Matuambu is like it kind of reminds me of the Dells. You know, it's like a strip and there's a lot of housing and it's in the center of like all of the tourism that goes on. Like a lot of your big national parks are within miles of that town. And then the village, we're down one of the streets in the Majango area, which is like about maybe a mile or two away from that main downtown area there's a lot of poverty in that area. The actual, I want to say, well, I was going to say 80,000, but I can find out exactly.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
And prior to you being there, was it mostly home births?
Yeah, a lot, they still are. 50% of the country has home births. Yeah, which is pretty, their goal is to have all hospital births, but at least if you can have good birthing centers. We know, like Arusha is about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes from there in one direction that has a NICU and pretty good, one of the best hospitals in the country. It's a Lutheran hospital that was started by a doctor from Minneapolis in the 1990s. And I actually worked there the first trip that Jesse and I went. It was a little village hospital, not in the city, but later that got supported in a bigger way with what he did. He passed it from cancer in 2019. So the leadership is taken over, but there's a NICU there. And the pediatrician that started the NICU is from Minneapolis as well. And they knew each other. And he started the NICU and has actually started a neonatal African conference that we've spoken at, or I've spoken at, along with one of my colleagues.
And do you have pretty consistent problems with power outages or water? My brother was in Rwanda, and that was very often.
That we'll have a generator, but we also want to get, I know that we want to get solar panels. It would be the goal to, like the parking for the cars. I like the way Dean Clinic did it with those solar, you know, it's a really good way to not use up farm land. And so that's kind of, I took pictures of that and sent it to our contractor if you really like that. So we'll see, you know, but that would be a goal too. That's a good place to have it. Yeah.
Once you're up and running, availability of trained staff.
Well, yeah, we've gotten to know a lot of the doctors. One of the doctors that we work with in the village is health teachers. He's family practice, and their family practice doctors can do just about anything. I mean, they can do surgery, you know, like appendectomy, simple, you know, like, I don't want to say that's simple, but, you know, cesarean sections and things like that. So he is really good, and he's also massage, which is amazing. And he married the pastor's daughter, so they have 2 little kids. They live in Dar now, so he's getting really good experience in the city. It's like 12 hours away, but he always comes up for our events. It's very hard even for doctors to get jobs. It's really, you know, and they're so needed, but it's hard we've helped support, like Nixon started his own business, but we've helped like nursing students get through nursing school, and so she's going to come back is the plan. We're working with a group out of Milwaukee that found out about us, and we went to meet them. They're called the Big Five, and they're going there in January to meet with the school, and they want to help put scholarships together for nursing students and people to get education. And so then the idea would be like, if for every year that they would pay for a scholarship, they would be committed to working to our birthing center, that they would get paid. But as long as they keep a good work ethic and they're, you know, it wouldn't be a guarantee if they mess up, you know, they're not, but so that's kind of what we're working on, because education is critical. You can't have good workers until you have good education. Yeah.
You keep talking about it as a birthing center, but it sounds like it's more than that.
Yeah, we'll have a medical clinic as well, because that's really needed. So we don't need a whole lot of space for that. It was gonna be on that one end, but now we're looking at putting, for one of the gazebo, we're gonna put outdoor gazebo because it rains off and on and we wanted shelter. But, we're gonna put a couple room freestanding, medical clinic so that anybody could come and then they can be referred to like the city or something else. Just through our experience of having these outreach medical clinics when we go there, there's really a need for it. You know, people come in for everything.
Well, and that would also promote some prenatal care as well.
Oh, yeah, they would get prenatal care. So we'll have a room for clinics. They'll be able to come in for prenatal care. I mean, if you can get them in a couple of times before. The other thing that we want to do is, because the Maasai typically don't get any prenatal care, we've been working with them since 2017. And one of the Maasai women, and they come back for the classes, and then they bring new women in that are midwives to get trained. She said that she was just she wanted to thank us as a group for coming and being consistent and for coming back, because a lot of groups will go in and then they never see them again. And so that's the importance of staying in certain areas, that they get to know you and trust you. That's a big, big selling point for getting them if they run into a problem. And she said that she had a woman that was having problems after the birth and took them into the hospital, and she went in because she had met some of the other doctors and people in our class. So they get to know each other. So we have joint classes, where we involve both of them together. And the doctor said, "How do you know all this?" Because she was like telling them everything that was going on with the baby. And she's like, "Karen Klemp is her group of Hope to Others, and they come and teach us. And that's how I learned all this." And I mean, I was just like astounded, because that is what you want, is for them to understand and know and to take them in and get the help that they need. So that's really, really, really important. And they're valuing what I found was neat is the doctor Dr. Alex, he is Maasai. I said, because he always does our translating for our Maasai lady. And I'm like, "Well, how did you learn Maasai?" So he goes, "Well, I'm Maasai." And I'm like, "Wow." And he had actually, when he was 5 years old, was in an accident and lost his leg from the knee down. And he had an artificial leg. You'd never know it. Never know it. He was like, he even showed me, and it's even his skin color, the prosthetic. And I was like, that is miraculous that a young man, and he must be, I would say, mid-30s. He's very smart, very well respected, and very well liked. So part of my goal in my heart is that they would be able to, midwives, I don't know by law if they can actually work in the facility, but they could bring in a mom and be a coach and be with them, So I'm hoping that we can work something like that out so that they feel safe, to come in. And one of the gals that we put through school, actually secondary school, high school, and nursing school, has done excellent. She's working in a NICU on Zanzibar Island and plans to come. So, yeah.
Infant mortality rates high.
Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah, I actually left that slide out because I knew we didn't have a lot of time. But, yeah, they are high. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is you see the midwife culture as sort of accommodating, or because they could be competitive and be threatened.
Right, exactly. Well,
how do you overcome that?
Well, I kind of went into this, blindly, so to speak, because I had never worked specifically, the first time that we went there. And Nixon has been our guide, and he knew what we did. He's spoken here at Rotary in the past years. And he he has really been our guide, and he works with these people, and he takes people, and he's done that ever since he was a kid and worked in the community and established that line of trust. So it's establishing trust and building relationships and, you know, coming back year after year and just showing them, you know, love and compassion and respect, you know, and honoring them. Honoring them, you know, I tell they've done more births than I don't do births. I've done it a lot of births, but I don't do births. They do births, you know, and they do it under the worst circumstances, dirt floors, you know, covered with a blanket or whatever. So, yeah. And we learn a lot of interesting ways. And I always ask them, okay, so what do you guys do? Tell me some of your stories. It's very hard to get stories out of them because until they really trust you. Because they don't want it to be turned against you. Because they do, and I tell everybody that goes on our team, if they tell you something that sounds crazy, do not respond like what. That's the worst thing you can do. You just listen and say, wow, that's amazing. Because it is. You know, one of the things that they do if they have postpartum hemorrhage, you know, we give blood transfusions, they drink cow's blood. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. There's another way of doing, you know, I mean, you know, if you go in and we start criticizing and say, hey, you're doing something wrong, they will cut you right off. And so, you know, you just want to honor them where they're at. You know, they're doing the best that they have and with what they have and keep it simple, keep it practical. Yeah. No.
Does that help?
What?
When they drink the cow's blood, I mean, do you?
Well, I don't know. They say that it does. You know, it's a good question. They say that it helps, and I've never seen it or asked, you know, because I'm always going through translators. Because there's Maasai language, and then there's Swahili, and then there's English. So sometimes you need a couple translators to get through all those languages. So they just say that's what helps their women. So I'm like, okay.
Must be something.
Yeah. But I also preface that with, you know, the first time I did CPR on a baby in Tanzania was in 2007. And it was a term baby, and baby was not breathing and had no heart rate. They were swinging the baby around. They didn't know. And I just said, you know what? We have a procedure back home that we do that really helps babies with this kind of a problem. Do you want me to try? They let me try it, and it worked. And then they were like, could you come back and teach us this? So it's not I mean, we were probably, you know, spanked when we were all over that age group where, you know, they hung us upside down. They don't do that anymore. That's not the proper way. You know, they found that can cause issues too. So, so that's kind of where we're at. You know, you accept them for where they're at, and, you know, hopefully they'll learn that there are other ways that are better. So, and I don't even know, it's hard to get blood, you know, like blood banks and stuff like that. But when I started in the NICU in Madison in 76, we used to do walking donor blood transfusion, where you take somebody who you know is an O or O negative blood, and we would, you know, nurses, I wasn't, but draw off blood and send it to the lab, spin it down, and give it to babies. It works. We don't do that anymore, but, you know, it's all Red Cross and all kinds of stuff that, you know, you do the best that you can with the knowledge that you have at the time, and knowing that you'll always be improving. So I always tell them, you know, there's always new knowledge that's coming forth, you know, and we'll share with you whatever new knowledge you have.
It's the roof up now.
It's being put up now. It's all the steel beaming. We had to go all steel and brick because of termites. There's a big issue there. So you're not going to build a building that's going to be deteriorated in a few years because of that. So all the steel metal is up, and so in fact I just messaged him this morning to see. I said, speaking of Rotary, I need to know where you're right at. So kitchen said. So it's very exciting, yeah, all the steel, it's amazing, the process, And theirs is all manual labor. They don't have the backhoes and all the equipment that we have.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, it is time for some happy dollars.
All right. You have like 3 weeks to finish up. So let's move ahead. Happy dollars. We'll start right here. All right, there you go.
Had a great holiday after, since I can't see each other for quite a while. Michaela and I have been extremely busy in real estate, so we were lucky to be able to take some time off and go up north. Out there, freezing rain, 20 inches of snow, snowed in. I don't snowmobile, but they go out and do whatever. Then you kind of panic, but it's big like me, and I'm getting a little. I could definitely tell you I had cabin fever, like that me out up here. But enjoyed the time up there. It was absolutely beautiful. We lost a couple trees, heavy snow, but it was beautiful and enjoyed a lot of family time. So, yeah.
Anybody else? Ooh, you're long here. I can see that.
I'm
All right.
trying, buddy.
Yay. Oh, yes, you did a free one.
Oh, my gosh.
But you gotta stand up.
You gotta stand up, and it doesn't have to have anything to do with.
Oh.
By yourself.
Okay, well, our next trip is July. We're gonna leave after like July 9th or somewhere there, whatever. The least expensive, but so if anybody's interested in coming, let me know. We'd love to have you. You don't have to be a nerd or a doctor or anything. Just a willing heart.
What he was saying, I'm not sure I want to be with you or don't.
Oh. Yeah, I don't care.
Nothing more here. Here we go.
Great presentation. Thank you very much. It's the first one. Second one, had a really nice Christmas. Was able to get down to Naples, Florida. It was 80 degrees on a beach. And I came back at 12. It was really great.
You were so good.
I was concentrating.
So whenever I don't have that, I go make the rest. Great vacation. I went on a cruise. I went on a real vacation for like 30 years, and it was awesome. It's very hot and humid, and I enjoyed coming back to. Full sun would be helpful. That's also for my. So I was all hepped up about the Nebraska volleyball, and Nebraska basketball team is unbeaten. And who said that? I heard somebody say, "Who'd have thought Indiana football would be unbeaten and Nebraska basketball would be unbeaten?" Like, kind of weird, but hey, I'll take it. And something else. But, sorry. I'll pay for whoever doesn't have $1 in there.
Okay. I'm happy to think back. I was visiting my kids for the 6th week, right before Thanksgiving, for the last time. And a little groggy. Most of my time, of course, we did the holidays, but most of my time was spent with the newborn. My wife and I had the 3 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock. This morning I got up at 3 o'clock. So, kind of reminds you of what you went through. Yeah. Anyway, it was fun. I've been there many times to San Francisco. And if you've been there lately, you've seen these beautiful driveways, rainbow signs. And I said to my son, I'm going to ride in that car one of those times. I did. And I'm telling you what, you get in there, there's no driver, and and the first 10 minutes, you just Okay, let's follow around, do it. Who's coming, and are you gonna miss this car? And then after that, you kind of just say, heck with it, I'm just gonna have a good time. Anyway, it was fun.
That's kind of like driving with my husband.
Okay.
You wouldn't be
Yeah, but that's
surprised.
the same thing about
Really?
me. Anybody else here over here?
Karen, thank you for sharing that. Just amazing when you have a passion and you go out and you do it and you follow up on it. That's just wonderful. My other happy dollar was just, the holidays. We didn't do anything crazy, stuck around here. We were gonna go up north, but we knew there was snow and ice, and we're like, we'll keep it easy. We'll stick around here, and just fun with family.
So I remember my other dollar, right? You didn't. My name.
Forgive me for some of your.
Well, Tim talked about it was important to be
Isn't it?
honest. I just want to thank you. I think this is really inspiring. So, thank you.
Michael.
Several of you have seen me walking back and forth with my dog. He's a pretty important part of our park and life. We spent Christmas Eve at the emergency vet. We came back from the dog park and I thought he had gone blind, and I was freaking out, crying, sobbing. Everything around here was closed. We got there and they quickly took care of them. They were really good, really fast at that UW healthcare. Found out that someone dropped their stash at the Sun Prairie Dog Park, and it was just really, really high. Hours of just out of it. Yeah, he did they a whole lot of weed.
I don't have anything that far. I did. So, one, Karen, thanks. I mean, Rick and you have been part of Rotary for a long time, and just really appreciate all the updates you've given us and the progress that you've made. So thank you. I have, over the new year, Christmas time, I found out that my nephew, who got married a little over a year ago, and he and his wife are expecting in August, so it'll be right around their 2-year anniversary. So I'll be a great aunt for the 13th time. So that just seems like a lot. But I love them all. I love them all. They're all wonderful. And then that calendar. We have a family calendar, and I put all the birthdays on and all that stuff. So I'm in charge of that. Yeah, what? In bold? Yeah, in bold, everything. And then we've also had Cardinal University, or Cardinal Heating and Air Conditioning here, and they have that Cardinal University. My nephew, if you were here, I talked about it was something he was interested in. He was a senior in high school. He was able to get into that program, and he graduated last night as an official heating and air conditioning installer, I think. And he loves it. He loves his job. He's not a kid who was going to go to a 4-year college. He really just likes the hands-on. And so he graduated from that program. Just really proud of him, but also the fact that Cardinal Heating and Air Conditioning has something like that for kids that were interested in the trade. So, and then UW volleyball, of course, they made it to the Final Four. They didn't win, but they did make it further than Nebraska. So half note for the entire. You don't never want to help you notes, but that's how they beat them though. 90-60. I know. It's our bad. And then, I can't stand out without an Anna Dower. She had her wisdom teeth out on Chris. She picked New Year's Eve. She picked New Year's Eve to have her wisdom teeth out. So she's almost a weekend. Everything went really, really well. And she's also starting in January her last semester. She'll be a senior at the UW Madison, and that to me is just like, oh, Debbie, you just came to that. So really proud of her and what she's accomplished in the past 21 years of her life, or the first 21 years of her life.
Marisol, you have a free one? You guys stand up and tell us what's going on in your life. Anything that's exciting?
Because I've been in Sun Prairie for about a little over 2 years. I'm actually in the South. I lived most of my life in the South, in Georgia and Texas, and in Georgia and Texas. So I love the weather here. I mean, I'm tired of the heat. And I decided to venture up here and just kind of see, what life is like up north. So far I'm enjoying it. I do work for a nonprofit. Most of my career has been in nonprofits. Currently I work as a business officer, HR person. So enjoying kind of like helping my work to establish a foundation. Something in the organization. Thank you.
I hope you'll come back.
Well, you are in southern Wisconsin.
I guess you are. All right.
Progress in the grouping center, and then we're talking about ice. I should have had this story a couple weeks ago when the police chief was here, that there was a story about somebody who drove into a body of water, and there was ice on the top, and they were able to rescue everybody. The driver was charged with operating under ice.
Too bad. You got everyone else out there? Go ahead. Oh no, thought you were raising your hand.
For me,
Rick.
yeah, put me down for $1, please.
Okay.
I usually sit in the back of the room and see the back of your heads. Sitting here and seeing everybody's face the whole time and how many people are smiling does my heart good. I miss you guys.
I thought you were going to tell us how scary it is.
I'll tell you in person.
Well, when will you be back?
About March 1st.
Okay, it's a long time away. Thank you. Anyway, my happy dollar is that on Christmas, for the first time in all these years, I finally figured out what was the #1 best gift to give at Christmas is a broken drum. Can't beat it.
Thank you so much for speaking. Very interesting and very inspiring, so thank you for that. Holidays were wonderful. I had a great time. It was grateful for a good visit with lots of family and friends, and for lots of videos of my 2 daughters together with my grandson. That was a lot of fun to see them. They had a good time in Ithaca, where somehow it did not snow. It's like half an hour north was like 25 inches. South of that was tons of snow. They got like 2. So my daughter from Texas was disappointed because she was like gunning for the big snow, but didn't get that. And I'm excited about my trip next week to go to New Orleans. So it should be a good time. Last time I was there was literally right before the pandemic. So we'll see how it's changed in that amount of time. So yeah, a couple things there. So I'm going to scooch over this way. I have Karen, again, keeping in the all Klemp theme today. Okay. You can draw the ticket for us for the last 3. Right, you can read the last 3 numbers. 216.
216?
You're right. Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
216.
Remember, hold them down.
That's the number. That's the number I told her to say.
Yeah.
That's the one I want right there. Oh, so close.
Well. Nonetheless. Right, exactly. Okay, so my Rotary facts for the day. So it's kind of fitting giving our topic of the day. So in 1978, Rotary launched its comprehensive humanitarian service activity with the Health, Hunger, and Humanity program. The 3H program was designed to undertake large-scale service projects beyond the capacity of individual Rotary clubs. By 1994, there have been more than 135 different 3H projects approved and undertaken in 49 countries, worth over $37 million. The objective of these programs is to improve health, alleviate hunger, and enhance human, cultural, and social development among peoples of the world. The first 3H project was the immunization, I think, of 6 million children in the Philippines against polio. As 3H progressed, new programs were added to help people in developing areas of the world. Currently, in addition to the mass polio immunization of over 100 million children, these numbers may have changed, but I think this is pretty current. 3H has promoted additional programs, vocational education, improved irrigation for food production, polio victim rehabilitation, and other various activities. All of the 3H projects are supported by voluntary contributions of Rotarians through the foundation. And hopefully the culture and the going philosophy of the 3H program might be considered Rotary's finest service activity, showing how Rotarians care and are concerned about people in need wherever they may be. So there's my brief fact of the day. And with that, we are adjourned, and thank you. Have a lovely, wonderful Tuesday. And see you Monday. Yeah.
The holiday.